Hello, everybody. It's Dana Brooks of Facing Brooks Law Offices, and you are back with us for another episode of the EmPower Hour brought to you by the EmPower Plant. So welcome, everybody. I hope you're having a wonderful first week of September and you had a great Labor Day weekend. We are back. We have come back from the holiday. We have come back stronger, and we are ready to give you another fantastic show today with an inspiring guest who's going to motivate you to do all those things in the last quarter of the year that you maybe been putting off. It's time to get really serious about your goals and reaching them and what you can do to change your life to make sure you make room for the things that you're passionate about, even if you're responsible for other people. Maybe you're a mom, maybe you work outside the home, maybe you got a lot of stuff on your plate, but it's time to put yourself first and get some of these goals accomplished, and then be a leader to other people, especially what we talk about all the time is leading and inspiring young women and girls. So welcome, everybody. We have a great guest today. We've got Jennifer Powell. We call her Jen Powell. Now, she wears a lot of hats. So some of you know her as a very talented photographer. She's also involved in a lot of women's empowerment, girl empowerment type projects, and she's going to talk about that, what keeps her passionate about it and why she makes time for it in her busy life. She's going to talk about managing the things she does in her, and along with her personal life and being a mom and a wife. And then we're going to get into kind of what she does to help other women feel good about themselves, what her business is, and what inspired her to start it. We are welcome back. Again, we welcome Kia Thomas, our PR director. Welcome, Kia.
Hey there.
I got to tell a story on Kia in just a minute, but let me introduce everybody else. We got Kimmy Hogan, who escaped this story that I'll be sharing. Welcome back, Kimmy, my law partner.
Hey,
she's been covering a lot of gaps for us lately. We've got a lot of people who are traveling this week, and we're all trying to fill in for each other. She's been doing a lot of interviews, and in addition with helping all her personal injury clients like she always does. Lots of things are changing. We're having to be flexible in our schedules. Some things are going, some things are shut down. So we all just got to be cool, be chill. So to help us do that, we like to have a little cocktail on the EmPower Hour. Now, Rose Caswick is in charge of this, as you all know. She couldn't be here today. And I gotta be honest with you. I got to give her probably no more than a 5 out of a 10 for the handoff on the drink responsibility. She left it up to me. Now, I did go in and plunder through her bar cart, which, you know, after we've been doing this show about a year, it's pretty impressive. It's got some things on it you have to Google. But still, I'm not a mixologist. So this is what I came up with. I hope our producer, Whitney Morris, is watching, because this is a peak Whitney, Dana style. So we've got the last ice in the machine, because that's not working, because it never is. And then we've got some pink Whitney, which is strong. I don't know what's in it, but it's strong. So you need to cut it with something. But I'm always worried about the calories. So we cut it with some really flat soda water. It still wasn't pink enough, so we threw some cranberry in it. And then, of course, it needed some garnish. And so I think this is basil.
Kimmy, I didn't overdo us, so that's why ours isn't as much as
ours is half full.
I'm gonna try it because I'm a team player. I'm a sport.
I'll let you try it first.
Woo!
I'm not gonna drink that.
Then we'll send yours in the mail. No,
you may see me sneak. No, I've got backup champagne because I'm civilized. But anyway, let's get back to serious stuff. Jen, welcome. Jennifer Powell, welcome. Tell us about yourself briefly and why you are a super empowered woman.
Oh, awesome. Well, thank you for having me today. I'm surrounded by super empowering women, so I'm excited to be here. I'm a mom. I've lived in Tallahassee for almost 15 years now. My dad was from Philly, so I say I'm like the Southern Belle Yankee, so a little bit salty, a little bit sweet. Depends on the day. And I had 2 beautiful children, one going into high school and one started middle school this year over at McClay, and they're rocking it out. I've been married for 17 years. I run Jennifer Powell Photography for the last 14. I've been the executive director of Girls on the Run for the last 3. And then I serve in so many capacities because I love to learn. I love to learn and serve, and it's fueled me and made me grow as a woman and as a mom and as a friend, and so many by walking all these different avenues. So I feel blessed that I'm I guess I'm like a thrill seeker for new experiences, and I'm constantly wanting to grow. So that's why I do all the things that I do.
I love that. I want to start just real quick asking you about Girls on the Run. I think I mentioned earlier, I was, some people came to me. Were you one of the people who came to
I
me?
was, yeah, it's right
Yeah,
when I
and we
first
did something
started.
right in the office, yeah. And at the time, I was like, okay, this is good because I like the idea of paying attention to our physical. Hey, Carrie Roan is
Hey.
here. Hey, Carrie, you're so
Hi,
lucky.
Jen.
Hey,
You're so lucky
hey.
you're missing this drink today. You don't want any part of that drink.
We're still gonna drink it.
I got a little wine myself, so I'm good.
There you go. There you go. So the Girls on the Run, I was very excited to hear an emphasis on physical fitness and physical health because it really is very important. You know, there's a epidemic of being overweight, and that leads to diabetes and then all kinds of health problems with that. So I was very turned on about that. But then I learned that there was so much more to it than just the running and the exercise component. Can you tell us about it and why you're so turned on about that project?
Absolutely. So I actually fell in love with the program. The old executive director, Erica McKibben, brought it here to Tallahassee. I knew nothing about it. And when I heard Girls on the Run, I was like, okay, I just lost over 65 pounds. I was like finding my wellness journey. And then like most people that have lost weight and gotten well, it's really just the icing on the cake was the weight loss. What really the magic happened on the inside. And I felt like that's when I really grew as a woman and found my purpose in life. And so she's like, I recommend that you come run as a running buddy. We need some fast runners. Most of our girls don't run, but we always have a couple that are like, I want to win, even though that's not what it's about. I want to win. And so I started running with one of the little girls over there, and I ran with her for 4 years. And so I fell in love with that bond. And I gained so much about how important that relationship outside of being a parent, what that is for a young girl, not being her mom. And it's so important because you can't always say everything you want to your mom, but you can say that to someone that you look up to. So that's how it started. And then I became a board member. And honestly, I was surrounded by some humans, I guess, that believed in me bigger than I did and said, you know what, we're looking for another executive director. I know you have a full-time job and a successful business, but we need someone like you that believes in this and is going to put her whole heart into it. And I prayed real hard on it and said, listen, if you think that I need to serve here, let me do this. And I jumped in and really wanted to change the course. And that's why I came and brought you on that video, is because people don't understand what the program's about. Mm-hmm. They think it's a running club, but it really is about giving them the skills to become the women that we are today. Yeah. It's a journey, right? You have to have the skills and you have to have the mindset to walk through circumstances that sometimes we can't change as children, you know, finding that inner voice and that inner power at such a young age, especially in today's time. I mean, I can't imagine growing up. It was hard then, and it's even harder now in the pressure. Every day. So giving them those skills is really what our program does. It's a social emotional group that we provide small group settings for our girls, volunteer coaches that empower them with skills to find their inner star, to find that inner dialogue that they're going to need to be able to get through a really challenging time. And then always integrating a healthy lifestyle with that, because wellness is part of it. You know, it's a full embodiment of mind, body, and soul. And so that's where the running aspect of it is, but really teaching them to keep moving forward, right? Yeah. I mean, your journey was the same way. It's like, it wasn't perfect. There was lots of up and down, but I had to keep getting up. Yeah. And that's how we survive and we're leaders today. So that's really what the program, I fell in love with it. And here we are 3 years later.
I love so many things. I want to click off so many, but I want to get to Carrie Roan, because the minute you started talking, I started thinking about Carrie. Because I am not the most competitive person in the world. And I hope that's clear to people. I would not expect somebody to be surprised by that, but I compete with my best self. Mm-hmm. I know what my best version of me is. And so that's what my competition is. I don't compete with other people, but this queen, Carrie Roan, she and Jimmy Fasig are two of the most competitive people I've ever seen in my life. And they'll compete with each other. They'll compete with a paperclip. They will compete with anything that will take them on. So, Carrie, what do you think about as a girl and your experience? Now, you're raising boys, but that doesn't mean you don't encounter girls. But what do you think? What do you think about a group like Girls on the Run that encourages fitness, encourages competition, takes you out of these little dainty girl empowerment things that we're so used to seeing?
Yeah, listen, I think girls playing sports is absolutely fantastic. And I think girls running is absolutely fantastic because girls have to find a way to dig deep and be strong and survive. And sports teaches that. It's a group dynamic. So being part of a team is awesome because you learn how to support and empower each other as teammates. And yeah, I am hugely competitive, but I'm also a really, really good member of a team. And I love my soccer teams. And I love watching them succeed as being part of a team. And I think Girls on the Run teaches that. And it teaches confidence, and it teaches how you can be out there by yourself, pushing yourself while people are watching, and not to be embarrassed, and just to be on a stage where other people, can see you compete. Sometimes you lose, sometimes you win. And those are invaluable lessons, I think, and invaluable characteristics to carry forward into womanhood.
I agree. And you know what I think is best about what you just said and the Girls on the Run is, there's competition and then there's healthy team building competition. You could be in singular sports where there's not as much team building as you would like. And it could really change your whole, reality and you mess up your whole life. You've seen these people, these world famous athletes who are in these singular sports. But I do like the idea of, like you said, Carrie, not just being competitive, but being competitive on a team where you want to see everybody on the team reach their highest potential and be successful. And I like the Girls on the Run doing it because, and this is the next question for you, Jen, I want to talk about what age are children and how you're reaching these girls. But it kind of seems to me like it might maybe temper that mean girl part of girls' adolescence. Because if you are rooting for your girlfriend instead of looking at her like she thinks she's cute, no, what is can you believe what she looks like? All that nasty stuff that kind of rears its ugly head in middle and high school. I think this would be a really good antidote to that. So how do you reach the children? What ages are they? What program levels are available at what age? Tell us about the program.
So it gets younger and younger. So we've just piloted our second grade program. We'll be integrating now with second through fifth graders. That's our Girls on the Run program. So that's fit to the struggles they're having, a little bit more juvenile language that we use. We use star power. I mean, so it's fun for the girls while they're still learning those skills. And then we also have a Heart and Soul program that is our middle school girls. So that dives a little bit deeper into the things you were just talking about. How do I look at myself in the mirror? And on Instagram, I'm like, hey, I don't look like that girl. So what's going on? Why am I not skinny? When really we're teaching them, like, first of all, that's not real. And finding their own inner beauty and being comfortable with that. I wish that I'd had those skills as a young girl because I struggled until I was 30 years old. And I think women struggle still today looking at the girl next to them going, but I'm not that, but I'm not this. So how do we change that dialogue? And so we do that in our school system. We have a great relationship with Leon County Schools. We do that after school program. And we do that all across Tallahassee, and I took on Bay County as well. So I serve in Bay County.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a beast, but we do it. And I didn't want to leave those girls behind over there. Their council dissolved, and we still had sponsors that wanted to support them, and so we took them on. So we have two seasons running at the same time.
We would love that. We just opened an office in the
did you?
Destin. We opened in the Gulf Coast. So we're trying to get into the community and support it there, just like we try to do here. So I would love that. Anything.
Yes.
You've got a slew of women lawyers here who love empowering girls. I think we're all committed to doing what we can so the young girls don't have the same path that we had. There's got to be a better way to get where you want to ultimately be without the same route of the pitting against each other or thinking you've got to be mannish or man-like or adopt those behaviors that are maybe not as instinctive to you. Kimmy, what do you think about? Oh, go ahead, Carrie.
I was gonna say, what's so nice, like what Jen was saying, and kind of to your point, Dana, it's when you're running and when you're a female, and I don't know if men experience this, obviously, because I've never been a man, but when you're a girl and you're running, you run off all those negative comments and you run off. How do I look? I feel fat. I feel gross. I feel stupid. I can't. You run all that stuff off and it all is like shed in your wake as you're running. And by the time you're done, you feel like a champion, no matter who you are, where you come from. And it's so inexpensive, and girls of all walks of life can do it. And I just think it's such a empowering feeling. And I guess it's mostly from endorphins, but it's so good for girls. So good.
It's a good head clearing. And I think it is so good for girls because it gets you out of that day in, day out, and let you decide how much of that stuff you want to listen to, how much of that you want to internalize. I like it. I'm not really the biggest fan of being hot and sweaty and miserable, but I've found ways to exercise and find things that I like to do because I see, believe it or not, this is what's great about getting older. You see almost immediate improvement. You don't have that you don't have that sweet layer of protective fat. So if you lift one weight, you're like, oh, look, there's a muscle now. Immediate result. You're like, yes. And so that's good. But honestly, you sleep better. You're not as hungry. Everything just works better. It's an appreciable improvement for the effort as you get older. So I just want to encourage everybody that way.
Hey, Dana, before you go to Kimmy, listen, Kimmy won Dancing with the Stars. I got second, you got second, and Jimmy got second. And Kimmy,
I didn't get second. I did not get second.
I know you didn't win, but Kimmy has the biggest trophy on her desk.
It is obnoxious.
So she might not brag about it and she might not be labeled as competitive, but that girl, she won Dancing with the Stars, and then she won like the crowd favorite, and she keeps those trophies like front and center, so you have to face them.
This little thing.
I couldn't believe it. I walked into her office the other day. It was like a trophy assault.
Exactly, right?
What a room for me in here.
She's like the smartest, most competitive one of us all. You got to show Kimmy with her trophies. You got to feature Kimmy in the spotlight with her trophies. Hold them up, Kimmy. Yeah.
I can't even hold it up.
She can't. She doesn't lift enough weights to hold up her trophies. She can't. No, but you're an interesting type of competitor. You don't do the trash talk like Jimmy and Carrie do. You don't spike the ball
on them.
No, she's just like, listen, I'm going in here ice cold. There's not gonna be a lot of discussion. I'm just gonna sweep this room and I'm gonna go back home and it's all gonna be good. I'm put my super trophies on my desk. That's just how this is gonna go. But yeah, what do you think, Kimmy, about all this?
Y'all kill me. Well, I was thinking a couple of things. One, I remember in middle school just being so impressionable. And I was thinking about this one time when I kicked a soccer ball in PE class, and it must have been like a really good kick. And one girl I barely knew said, Kimmy, that was a great kick. You should be a soccer player. So I signed up for soccer. But like, that was a positive thing. But just, that rung true to me of how impressionable young girls can be at that age, and to have a positive voice and somebody saying, you can do this. You're awesome. Let's focus on the good stuff, how important that is while you're developing. I was just thinking of that story. I also was wondering, Jen, for people who are interested in volunteering, what kind of time commitment is that as the adult?
Yeah, what would that look like? What would volunteerism look like in this organization?
So there's all different ways. I started out as a running buddy, like I said. So you run one time before the race. I say run, you walk. You're just a cheerleader next to her to finish it. So that's one time during our 10-week program, and then on the 5K day. So that's like the smallest commitment.
Wow.
And then we have people that are our 5K committee that's out there setting it up and making it fun for the girls on the day of. We have our Wonder Woman event coming up that's raising funds for our Title I schools. And that's really where we fund all of our program, is from our big fundraiser. When I came in, just to add that in, when I came in, I really wanted to have a lot of diversity in our program. And we were serving about 30% of our Title I schools. And now we're serving over 60% of our girls are from our Title I schools. Because I wanted, when the girls got together at our 5K, for them to see what all of these girls together can look like, that you can live on the opposite side of town, coming from a completely different background, and connect in such a special way. Because I feel like that's how I've grown, is been able to connect with all these different people. And so that's what's really special. And we get our fundraising from that. So our Wonder Woman event's coming up to volunteer. And then obviously, if you ever wanted to be a coach, that's our biggest commitment. And we usually have our teachers in the schools do that. And that's 2 days a week for 10 weeks.
Okay. Very cool.
Wow, that's incredible. I want to hear more about your Wonder Woman project. I want to go to Kia Thomas real quick. You've been sitting awfully quiet. You've got children who are coming up now in the schools. You just had a whole popcorn cheer fundraising thing. I mean, I tell you what, if you have children right now, you're basically like an elected official. You're
Yes.
never not raising money. You're never not hosting fundraisers. It's like you're in the House of Representatives, like it's like
All
nonstop.
the time.
Yeah. What do you think about all this?
I think this is great. One of the things that kind of struck me is when you indicated, they're all coming together from different walks of lives and basically seeing that someone else is possibly going through the same thing that you're going through. And I think that's really helpful because a lot of times our girls shut down. And then you also have it where a lot of times our girls drop out of sports so quickly because it's like, hey, that's not what I'm supposed to be doing because I'm supposed to be girly or what have you. So I think this is on seven different components. I think this is a great thing. One, we're providing them with an outlet to be able to talk with others and having that round table. And then we're also providing them with an outlet to be able to say, I can compete, whether it's like Quiet Kimmy as she comes in like a quiet storm, or if it's like Carrie and Jimmy, loud and proud. And I think that's great. And I know that I'm already seeing that Dana's wheels are turning. So we're about to be doing a lot of stuff in Bay County, I can tell.
No, I love this kind of stuff. I went to all Title I schools when I was growing up. And so whenever I had my daughter, it became pretty apparent to me that she was going to have quite a bit more privilege than I had. And so I distinctly put her as soon as I could into this School of Arts and Sciences, which is what's here in town. There's other schools now, but this is, she's a little bit older. She's 27. So I put her in there as soon as I could because I just did not want her to grow up as a privileged little white girl. I just wanted her to understand that everybody wasn't having her experience. I wanted her to have friends from all walks of life. I wanted her to go to their homes and not just have them come to her home and that sort of thing. So I appreciate what you're saying. And I think another thing it does is it lessens this divide. I always was acutely, painfully aware of what I did not have growing up. When I was growing up, they didn't, if you didn't have the money to go to Washington, D.C. for your 8th grade field trip, you didn't go. You had to go to class and everybody else went without you. So, I mean, they don't do things like that to kids like they used to, but it was horrible enough for me to where I just don't ever want anybody to feel like that, to feel like they're less than, or they don't have a shot because they don't know somebody, or they're being raised by a single mom or whatever. So I really respect your thought there and your motivation on that. And then Kia, like you said, girls dropping out of sports, there's so much pressure on us to act a certain way. Now, don't misunderstand me. Extreme gender roles, I think don't help men any more than they help women. This whole be a man, act like a man, that sort of thing. I think that's a trap for boys, just like it is for the girls to be super feminine or demure to men, that sort of thing. So I like anything that challenges that in a way that is supportive and that doesn't break down norms. It just says maybe there's another way to look at things. Maybe that isn't the best, situation for you. Let's see. I wanted to ask you about the Wonder Woman project. Tell me about that, Jen.
Yeah, so a couple of years ago when I came in, I'm a visionary. I see things like big picture. So obviously I have like a 10-year plan of where this organization would go. And I wanted something fun, and Wonder Woman, I think, embodies what our mission is for all of these girls to feel that power from within. And so a couple of years ago, before pre-COVID life, we had our first Wonder Woman event, and we had girl dancers from all different parts of town. We had girl speakers, graduates, women in the community that have done phenomenal things, tell their story. And then we had teams of people raising money. So we had Orange Theory, we had banks, and we were competing like little kids, and it was like a total blast. And we were doing sack races, and I mean, we are competitive. I'm like you. I'm ready to win. So it was so much fun, but we had to revamp that, and we just never knew what the world was going to allow us to do. So this year it is launched a little bit differently. We have released it on our website. Our Wonder Woman event will be in November. The nominations have started now, where you can nominate a Wonder Woman in Tallahassee or a Wonder Woman girl. And then our finalists will be picked. It's sort of the same thing, I believe, like Dancing with the Stars, where you vote for who you want to win. And then we have a huge presentation November 4th. So we'll narrow down the finalists to 10 women and to 6 girls. And then we will have a big event and celebrate them at our event in November. So it's
I
gonna be a
love
lot of
that.
fun.
People
Yeah.
like getting recognition. They like getting awards. you know,
Yes.
And then people
Mhm.
like the fervor of competition. I think that's a great thing. I think it's wonderful.
Yes.
I want to talk about this. I want to talk about your, you were in a pageant
Mhm.
and you won it.
I won it. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of a big deal.
It's a little
Why
bit,
don't you
yeah.
tell us about that? I want to hear about it from this perspective, just so you know. I want to talk about pageants in the context of feminism, because I have strong opinions on that too.
That's a good topic.
Yeah.
That's a good.
So I want to learn about yours, what motivated you, how you reconciled it with your concept of feminism and women's empowerment.
Mhm. So I think, pageantry I knew nothing about. I will say as a Mrs., it's very different than going in like Mrs. Watermelon or I don't know, Miss July.
I will stop
4th.
you and tell you, I actually did.
Did you do it?
I did sign up to compete in the Mrs. Pumpkin Chunkin contest. Ask Whitney, ask our producer. She will tell you that is an absolute truthful fact. I had my whole outfit planned by like a Ralph Lauren type thing, like riding boots. It's cute. Very autumnal. Obviously, those are my colors. It's my strength. But no, they stopped at the last minute. They went with the Miss and the, like the junior, but they got rid of the married ladies.
Married
You
women.
say pumpkin chunkin?
Pumpkin, not pumpkin, pumpkin chunkin.
Pumpkin
My
chunkin?
husband at the time was very much into those people who would throw the pumpkins. And it was on
Oh.
Discovery Channel. Remember all that? And they had the trebuchet and they do it was all kind of stuff. Well, I was like, well, what do the women do when they go to support their men in these ridiculous activities? Oh, well, they have this pageantry. And I'm like, okay, now I'm listening. But no, I never did make it on stage for that. So that was my Mrs. disappointment. So I want to hear about your wild success in the Mrs. competition arena.
Yes. So I honestly, my sister looked at me a couple of years ago and she's like, I think I surround myself with women that are going to push me out of my comfort zone, first of all.
There you go.
I'm definitely not a high heel walker. I've competed in sports, very masculine sports. And so to wear high heels and walk on a stage, I was like, I'm not sure this is for me, but
Out of your element.
I'm going to be open-minded. And I really felt like, anyone that can benefit from your story and you can help grow, that's my duty, is to reach back and teach, and give the power that someone gave me. Someone said, you know what, I believe in you and I think you're fantastic. And if I can do that for you and I can water it, I want to watch you grow. And so that's what I really do with people in the community and with our girls. So that's what pageantry really drew me to. I was like, this is really out of my comfort zone. Number one, I'm not good at walking in high heels, but I want this experience to go in from a completely different perspective from what people think pageantry is. And I won't say that it's not, that there isn't people that have done pageantry since they were kids in the Mrs. division. There is. But then there's people like me that have never experienced it. And we're really just, it's eye-opening. It's definitely a different journey. The Mrs. division is really focused on interview and the service work that you do and who you are as a woman, what you stand for, and how that mission aligns with their mission as a organization. And so the Mrs. Florida Earth title that I hold now, I will compete for the Mrs. Florida USA title in January.
Wow.
With 50 women all over the world that are all phenomenal and are doing fantastic things. It aligned with what I do already. It aligned with empowerment and education, because I believe that we have to empower people before we can inform them. And so that's really what I love. And then, I'm trying to keep up with Lisa. I mean,
Good luck.
I know. I go into work every day. I'm like, really? On her mother's funeral last week, I literally walked in. I was like, you look like Mrs. America right now. Like, how do you look like that at a funeral? So we always laugh. I'm like the simple, and she's like, where's the makeup, girl? So it actually makes me step out of my comfort zone. I obviously have a coach that's helping me walk in high heel shoes and learning, but I'm all about the experience. And I'm really up there fighting for the kids that I teach and the kids that I volunteer with at Boys and Girls Clubs. And the girls at Girls on the Run, I'm fighting for that voice to teach them that it doesn't matter how old you are, that you have a duty, and you have a duty to give back to people, to inspire them, and to do good in the world. And that's really what my mission is. So.
Yeah. This is something else I like about it. I have a position on pageants. First of all,
Okay.
getting the hair and the makeup and walking in the shoes, that is also a metaphor for stepping outside of your comfort zone and challenging yourself in an arena you're not comfortable in, that you don't feel like a natural fit for.
Right.
It may seem frivolous and fluffy, but no, that's no different than you just deciding, I really do want to go out for this team, or I really do want to be on debate club, or I really do want to go to medical school instead of this or whatever. It's a metaphor for challenging yourself and going outside of what we've always done, in hopes that, even if you have a bad experience. To me, this is my philosophy. Even if you have a bad experience, it's a good experience because it's new.
Right.
You're not bored. There's something you gain from it, I promise you. So I like that. And the other thing I like about it is I can attack it all day long. I mean, it's not hard to attack pageantry,
Right.
but it's a little bit more of a task to see value in it, because the way pageants have changed, because I judge some of them. They're not so much about objectifying women and treating them as sex objects, or keeping them in the home, or diminishing their participation in the world. It's more about seeing them multi-dimensional.
Right. Yep.
And sometimes you have to take when the door cracks, you put your foot in the door and go into the building. You don't get everything you want the first whack. So if you have to go in through pageantry, go in through pageantry. And then the more people take it seriously and see you for a multi-dimensional person, and not just, an attractive object, then they'll hear you more, and that could open the doors to other people. Somebody's got to go first. And so I respect you so much, Jen Powell, for everything you're trying to do to plow the way for other girls. The other thing about pageants, in my experience, is they have put a lot of young women through college.
Yeah.
And there's
absolutely.
nothing worse in this world than a girl who doesn't get her education. So get it.
Yes.
If you have to wear an uncomfortable pair of shoes to get your college education that you otherwise would not have had, go get it.
Right.
I'm not telling you to do anything that's immoral or against your code of values, but I am saying this: use everything you've got, because there's nothing more important to women getting ahead and becoming equal participants in the world than their education.
Yep,
you want to see people
absolutely.
try to put a woman down, the first thing they do is remove her access to education. So keep an open mind about things like that, if you will. I want to give some shout outs to a couple of people. Thank you, Victoria Brooke. She thought I made a great drink.
I'm still drinking.
Yeah, she says it's fine. She says it's great. Whitney, whom it's named after, she said she loves the Pink Whitney, but she has no recollection of me ever even considering competing in the Pumpkin Chuckin' Mrs. contest. So I don't know where she was in her middle school years, but I was highly focused on taking that West Virginia title. No, I'm so mean. Okay, let's go around. Let's see who have we not heard from. Who wants to speak up and say something? Carrie, Kim.
I have a question, Jen. So my God, I just thought you were an incredibly talented boudoir photographer. And
let's talk about boudoir photography, Carrie.
Yes. And Jen, I was always so intimidated because you're so beautiful and you're so confident.
Aww.
And I just know you as a talented photographer. I didn't know all of these facets of your life. And I'm so impressed. I really am. And I'm so inspired. So my question is about boudoir photography, because I think that is such a brilliant way that you are empowering women to feel beautiful, no matter what our size or shape or blemishes or flaws. So can you talk a little bit about that and how you started in that business and how it's going and that type of thing?
Yes. So Lisa and I have been shooting together outside of our studio for years prior.
Jen, stop for a minute and let's tell people who Lisa is.
Oh,
We've brought her up a couple
everyone knows
times.
Lisa.
I know they do, but let's just say her last name.
Yes. So image by Lisa, Lisa Davis here in Tallahassee, who was on the cover of Tallahassee Women Rockstar, beauty queen, mom of a bazillion children and businesses, same thing. So that's why I work alongside people like that, because then we feel normal. You're like, listen, she can do it, I can do it. And so we've been doing boudoir and headshot and branding for years, and we were doing them in our sunroom and renting hotel rooms. And we found such a need that women actually wanted to do it. And so about a year ago, we were like, you know what, let's just open up our own studio. I think that we could rock this thing. I had a guy that came in, he goes, no one does boudoir. I was like, listen, everybody does boudoir, honey. You just don't know they do boudoir.
That's why we all password protect our phones.
Exactly. Yes. No one knows. We have secrets. No, but I really fell in love with, I think that has like evolved as me as a woman, as a photographer. I was like really into babies and I loved that phase of my life. And then as I grew and moved, that's when boudoir and headshots and all of that, really hearing the stories behind the boudoir is what I fell in love with. We have people that have had mastectomies. We have had people that are newly divorced. The mom that has been at home for years and is tired and just wants to feel beautiful. And we rarely actually have them give them to their husbands. They're really for them. They're doing
100%, 100%.
Yes, it's about them feeling loved and beautiful. And Lisa and I, that's who we are as women. And so we give a fantastic experience doing that with them. And they spent hours with us getting beautiful and glam. And then we pick out outfits. And then I pose them in the best light and make sure that we hide all those insecurities, and we show, and they look behind the camera and like, oh my God, that's me. And I'm like, yes, friend, that is you. So boudoir has really evolved. We absolutely love doing it. We have a studio. It's like our little hidden door on the side of our studio that we do them. We do them weekly. So we have a blast doing it. And to see these women walk out with tears in their eyes saying that was the best experience that I've ever had, then we've done our job. We've successfully done our job and made someone feel fantastic. So
no, I dig that entirely.
So all of you need to sign up.
Oh, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. You know, here's the thing though. We're always going to do it after we lose that next 5 pounds or after the kids go to this or whatever. No, do it. And I'll tell you why, because beautifully gifted, talented photographers like you know how to fix those problems.
Right. You'd be surprised. Posing is something that I've learned to master.
Shadows, light, contortion.
Yes, twist and turn and throw that arm over here, and it's like magic.
No, I think it's a good idea. I think people should do it. It makes you feel good, and like you said, it's not really about doing it for anybody else. So you don't have to give them to anybody. It's about seeing yourself differently, because if you see yourself as the CEO or COO of your home, of your children's schedule, of your spouse's or your partner's schedule, whatever it is you're doing, it is so easy to lose yourself and forget that you are a vital, sexy, awesome, magnetic person who people want to be around. You can really just put on that hat. You put on a lot of them, but you can put on that one that makes you feel very, I don't know, just vanilla, B flat. That's no way to go through life. So if this jazzes you up, charges you up, do it. I think it's all good. And I think you do it with empowered women who support you in it. They don't make you feel funny or weird, and they try things out. I think it's awesome. Kimmy, I thought about you when I was hearing from Jen earlier. We were talking about her family. She is not a single person. She doesn't have every, hour of the day. She's got her hands in volunteerism. She's got her hands in running a business. She's married. She's got children. I know you make a priority, or you used to, out of yoga and things like that. What do you think about whenever you're trying to be the best parent you can be, the best spouse, the best, advocate for your clients, all these hats that you wear? How do you make time for the things that make you feel good and make you feel great about being a woman and make you feel like you want to help other young girls and women?
Yeah, it's a balance, and it's a challenge. I hear what Jen's saying and I'm like, I need to do more. But I also recognize that I have a 2-year-old and 5-year-old. And so that season may be coming. They're not so dependent on me. But what I was thinking, and a question I wanted to ask Jen, because you were talking about basically planting seeds and watering them. You love to invest in people and see them grow. And I wanted to hear what you do with your kids to inspire them to be involved in the community and be just an active person who's giving back all the time. Because I'm looking for pointers.
Yes, absolutely. So my kids are at a much easier age, because they are in a learning. I'm trying to like raise good humans at this point, not changing diapers.
Yes.
So we actually had this conversation in the car on the way because I was like, okay, we had like an attitude with my hair is not good hair and this, and we talked about that, like seeing people through God's eyes, and that's how I lead. And so I would say that the best thing to do is take your kids with you. So my kids go with me. They volunteer at Boys and Girls Clubs. They are in it with me. So all of those experiences, people say, how do you have time to do it? Well, I don't. But I make, our fun days experiences for them that maybe they don't completely understand it today, but one day they're going to look back and say, you know what? Remember how mom made time for the people that needed time, that needed a little bit extra love today? Mm-hmm. And my son, I adopted a road here and we had all these volunteers and we were cleaning up the road, and my almost 15-year-old was like, I didn't want to get up. And afterwards he looked over at me and he goes, that was so much fun. And I was like, it feels good to serve, doesn't it? And so I think that that's really the best advice that I could give someone is take your kids with you. Don't feel bad that you have to work. I mean, my kids know what hard work looks like. I think sometimes maybe that people have different opinions. You have to definitely find balance. But my kids know, they've been at the studio with me. They've been on the road with me speaking. They've been in Boys and Girls Clubs. They've been at Girls on the Run. My husband's been the photographer, done all the things. So it's a family affair. And that's how you make time to serve and to do all the things, because we don't have enough hours in the day.
I love that, because I was just thinking, if I'm giving up, I immediately was thinking I'd be giving up time with my kids to go volunteer, but that's not the case, right? Merge them together.
Yeah.
It's one of the things I like to tell people about parenting, look at this here, parenting and mentoring. A big part of it is letting them see you lose your shit.
Yep.
A big part of it is letting them see you fail, letting them see you over stress, over schedule, have to take calls, let people down. Mentoring is not just about showing them the best version of what they can be. It's showing them how you struggle, how you overcome adversity, how you deal with things, how you just own having a bad day. Yes. So much of mentoring and parenting has to do with looking at that little person who's coming up behind you, who looks at you, goes, well, everything you do is perfect, so don't screw up. And you have to look up and say, hey, listen, fella, I screwed up today. Yep. I wish I would have done that better.
Absolutely.
I could have handled this better. I'm so glad you were there and you see that, it's not always easy, but I hope you also see that you can handle anything. That's the best part of mentoring. And then their little reactions, those little faces that reflect back to you, that makes you a better person. Mentoring is a gift that you give yourself, in my opinion.
That's true. Hey, Kimmy, by the way, I had the boys come to the Girl Flow project, which is just all about providing, period products for girls in need. And I had the boys come and we went across the street to Walmart and we went down the aisle and we got a bunch of pads and tampons and all that kind of stuff. And the boys were all into it. There's no reason why boys can't come and help support the girls events and also help the charity events. It makes them see, they're better kids by seeing you do charity work.
Think what good boys you're going to have in high school. They're not going to bully those girls. You're not going to make fun of them whenever they have a pad, come out of their locker or a tampon fall out of a purse. You're going to have good boys, and they're huge also, which is helpful. And they're going to look at the other boys who give people grief about them. They're going, hey, what the hell, man?
Yeah, no big deal. It's just a tampon. Who cares?
I love it. Kia, what were you going to say? You look like you're about to pop.
Oh, no, I just think these are some great, it's really nothing for me to add. I think, Dana, when you stated that it's okay to fail, it's so crazy that I keep having to tell myself that, because with a 5-month-old and a 3-year-old and then the 11-year-old about to be 12, it's so many different personalities. And like how Kimmy was saying, am I taking away from my kids when I'm mentoring others? It's all this balance that you're having to just keep together. And we wear so many hats as women, men too.
Yeah.
But our children are definitely way more dependent on us. Yeah. They will walk past dad to get a ketchup bottle opened.
But that's because we allow it. We train that.
Yes. Come all the way to the back of the house and say, Mom, will you open this? Did you not just pass your dad? But I just think this is such a great initiative to get behind, and, you know, making sure that our girls know that they're supported from all angles. And this is just awesome. I'm having a great time listening, and my wheels are going because I'm trying to figure out different ways that we can get involved, you know, more components. And so Jen, you're definitely going to hear from me after this, probably.
Fantastic. Yes.
And can I say this? Can we just be honest here? Kia's job, my job, Kimmy's job, Carrie's job is to make money. We're in a business. And so many people think that that necessarily means just cutthroat. You know, I was a social worker first, and I remember people telling me, what in the world are you doing spending that much education on something that's you're gonna come out, you're gonna get paid less than a teacher.
Mm.
You know, they think teachers are the lowest paid professionals. That's not true. It's social workers, actually. And I said, you know, I just don't believe that everything is binary. I don't think things are mutually exclusive. I don't think that you cannot earn a fine living helping people.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe, though, that once you do, you have a moral obligation to make the world better and to help other people so they don't have to necessarily be hurt in a car accident like ours do to get a shot at fair treatment in their world. So I like all of those things, you know, that we're talking about. Mentorship, letting people see you fail, letting people see you as a leader, and using your leadership and your ability or you know, your resource, everything that you have in your community to help other people rise up. So I love everything you said about that, Kia. I want to get back to one thing I've heard from you a couple of times, Jen, and you talk about your faith. And I wanted to close today and talking about what motivates you, because there's a million things that can get between you and reaching a goal when you are a woman in your 30s, 40s, and 50s. You have children in your home. You're obligated to, you know, the running of your household. You're obligated to a partner. What is it that keeps you from going, look, I'm just taking care of mine. That should be enough. I don't want to have to be volunteering other people's children. I don't want to do it. What motivates you?
You know, it's shifted. You know, I think there's always times in our life when I was losing weight and trying to figure out who I was as a human. There was times things got lost and really unorganized along the way. My order in life was not good. It was, you know, more self-focused on how can I build my business? How can I look at the success that I've built? And then I remember all of the things in my life just feeling like they were failing. I was not being a good wife. Our marriage needed more love. So we talk about perfection. I'm not perfect. And I've learned through my failure to be where I am today. Those experiences I wouldn't actually be standing here and serving if I hadn't walked through all those things. But I remember my pastor told me, he said, Jen, the only way that you're going to fill your cup is your cup is not going to be filled by people. You're not going to get enough thanks. Your husband can't do that. Your children cannot do that. The only person that can do that is God. And when that is overflowing, everything else you will see differently. And so I don't get validation from people anymore. I don't, you know, losing weight, that sometimes people are joyful and happy for you and your success, and sometimes they're not. And there was some pain in that too. I was like, people didn't like me anymore. They liked me being fat and miserable and depressed and on anxiety. I wasn't threatening. I wasn't inspiring. I was just existing. And so when I had walked through that, and I remember surrendering to him, and really that is when my life changed. And I started seeing things and praying to see things through him. Yeah. How did he want me to serve? How was he going to give me and provide for my family? And my business has been successful more than it ever has. My marriage is fantastic. My kids are healthy and happy, and we're far from perfect, but I'm able to walk in his goals for me and the way that he wants me to live. And I talk like that freely, not to make people feel uncomfortable, but that's what's really giving me success here. Yeah. And that's where I lead with.
No, I love hearing what you're saying, and I don't feel at all preached to or talked to or corrected. I feel inspired by you speaking of your faith so passionately. So I am all about finding what motivates you. And I do believe that, of course, you know, who cares what I believe, but I do believe there's got to be a thought about a higher power, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I do. I just think and maybe it's no more than this. maybe it's no more than having an accountability
Mhm.
Yeah.
element to your life.
Mhm.
I learned this about myself. I've been married for forever. And then I've been divorced. I've been single for 3 years. And so I got married at 22 and I've been married a long, long, long time. And so I'm single and I'm just like Ricky Bobby. I'm like, what do I do with my hands? I really do feel like, do I eat this? Do I stay up? Do I go to sleep now? I mean, it's just like when you have every option in the world, you just feel really, like there needs to be a grown up who needs to come in here and take over. No, you really do. You really do. Whitney, my daughter, struggles with this because she has a lot of options in her life. And sometimes when you have too many options, you don't know what to do. So I do like the idea of having some direction, some accountability. Because if it's not your romantic partner, if it's not your business, like I have business partners who keep me accountable. Otherwise, I'd probably be in a hot air balloon right now. I'd probably something that really doesn't do anything good. But no, I like that. I like, and again, like you said, I'm not trying to preach to you. I'm not trying to whatever. It's just, this works for me.
Mhm.
So it sounds to me like find something that keeps you on track, because it's so much easier, in my view, to listen to all the things that say, girl, you don't need to do that. You got enough on your plate. Why don't you just do one thing this year? Why don't you just,
The noise,
Now, the
yeah.
converse of that is knowing that you could do more. Do you really need to work, 20 hours a day? No, you don't. You need time for R&R, you need time to rest. So I don't know. Let's wrap up today. Let's go around to everybody today and let's start with Kimmy Hogan. And let's just talk about our final thoughts and closing today on people who are motivated, even though they've got a lot on their plates, but they want to give back. They want to change the world for women, and they want to find some energy left in the tank, some gas left in the tank to keep doing it. What do you think of, Kimmy?
Yeah, I love that. Well, I'm thinking of Jen Powell.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it, Jen. I love talking to you today. And my big takeaway is to look for opportunities to give back where I can bring my kids with me. So that's something that we can start incorporating, because now's the time with my 5-year-old that he's really aware of giving to others and what that means. And it would be cute to see my 2-year-old waddling around.
But you know what, Kimmy? I thought about this the other day. I was looking at, somebody asked me how the COVID vaccine affected me. And I said, oh, the first one, I said, wasn't too bad. I said, it reminds me of? It reminds me of when I was in elementary school and I was leaning over at the water fountain, and this little boy who liked me came up and he put me in a headlock and he just started wailing on my shoulder to let me know that he loved me. And I thought to myself, you know what, please tell me we're doing a better job with our boys.
Yeah.
Telling them to just totally body slam the girls that they like. You know what I mean?
So definitely take
really,
that off the.
I hear what you're saying, because you've got these little boys, and I mean, it's great for them to come around and see you volunteer for things that they're not oriented to, which are unique troubles that girls experience that they don't. So yeah, don't let them, clock somebody just trying to get a drink of water.
You can send them over there to Carrie, because Carrie will make sure that will not
I mean, that's true, but they're still all cavemen. They're still all cavemen.
No, we'll hire Carrie's sons for protection against Kimmy's sons.
Yes. Yeah, I'll give you the headlock.
So Carrie, what do you think about all this closing today?
I mean, I think it's been an absolutely wonderful and enlightening hour. And Jen, I've learned so much about you. I was just with Lisa yesterday, and Lisa is so inspirational, and you are equally as inspirational. And it's very exciting to get to know you better. And the only thing, like, closing thought I would have to say is that my greatest failure in my life turned out to be the greatest thing that ever happened to me. And I think if we tell our girls and we tell other women that, when they're going through a big failure, don't worry. It's going to turn out to be the greatest thing that ever happened to you. If you make it that way.
Girl, you can't leave that. You got to tell us what it is. You can't just leave that in the ether like an air bubble.
Oh my gosh.
You got to land that plane.
I mean, it's no secret that when I left one of my law firms that I was with prior in 2012, we had a very bad departure. I went in to quit. Yeah, when I left Jesse and Tori and them, when I went in to quit and to tell them I wasn't happy, as it turns out, they weren't happy, and we had a mutual parting of the ways. It's
basically any divorce. It's like, oh, it's not surprising you're not happy. I'm not happy either. I mean,
it's horrifying because I thought I was the only one that wasn't happy. And I was like, wait, what do you mean you're not happy? I'm trying to break up with you. You can't break up with me. I'm breaking up with you.
You cannot break up with me. I am breaking up with you.
But
We
I
were
mean,
not on a break. We
yeah,
were not on a break. I
from a
am now
professional
instituting the break.
standpoint, it felt like a total and complete failure on my part. And I bawled on my way home. Like, when am I going to do with my career? Like, that was my career path. And, you know, ultimately that led me to this firm, and I am in the best place I've ever been career-wise and professionally wise. And it would have never happened if I hadn't have had the courage to stand up for myself and what I wanted and why I wasn't happy, you know?
But think how much time you spent and energy you spent just toiling over that.
Yeah.
I still do.
Instead of just going, this clearly is not a good fit.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
no matter how you describe it, I'm not supposed to be here. But you just
Right.
toil and you just beat yourself up instead of going, you know what? I need to just gather my resources, get my big girl panties on and go jump off this cliff, knowing
Dana,
that I will not fail.
I was there for 9 years. I
That's
was
a
there.
long
I was
time.
at that law firm when you graduated from law school and started
Yeah.
at Eubanks and Barrett. And I wish I had spoken up well into the 9 years, you know, well before I did in
Yeah.
the 9 years. You know what I mean? And then when you feel like they're breaking up with you, it feels like your world falls apart. And I literally bawled like a baby, like I had completely failed myself. And now I feel like I did the best thing I could have ever done for my career, you know?
Sometimes you need to thank people, you know, for that. But honestly, y'all both should have come to something earlier, and 9 years shouldn't have gone by. But women do that because we know
Yeah.
we've got a lot going on and we don't have all that backing up. You know, we don't have that support staff that so many men who have been in power before us have had. They've enjoyed a lot of support that we don't have even now. I mean, I'm even thinking about that, like rearrange, like I need somebody to do some of the things I'm spending my time doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but oh, it makes you feel like you're not competent if you hire, you know, we've got to let go of some of those conventional mindsets that hold us back. And all we're doing is spending our free time instead of building up this new thing we could have created years ago. You could have created that thing 6 years ago instead of 9 or a year ago. Had you put your energy instead of the angst you felt over they're not happy, what do they want, what do I need to do to be, you could just know this isn't a good fit for me, and put all that energy into the thing you're supposed to be in. But instead you spent 9 years trying to make something work that was never going to work.
Yeah.
You know, you got to believe in yourself. Okay, who else have I missed? Because I'm about to go over by 2. I've got Kimmy. Have I talked to Kimmy and Kia? Kia, are you our last one today? And then we'll finish up with Jim.
I think everything that everyone said, you know, I'm always writing down like keywords: motivating, change the world, faith-based, surround yourself with positive people, wait. All these things were actually things that I was struggling with prior to coming to Basic Brooks. And it's crazy because the very first week I got here, and everybody knows I love communicating. However, when I get home, I prefer to text. I say all of that to say this because I kind of went around, was talking to everybody, and everything was something led me here. And there's a reason why I'm here. And it's such a family environment that we support each other so much. And Jen, when you were talking about your faith, I was getting chill bumps and I almost started tearing up because when you start talking about stuff like that, I'm like, when you have something that you're believing in, whether it's your faith or a higher being, that's when you really start elevating and things start working better. And I think that's one of the best things about working at FB, because everything we seem to touch, because of the way that we move, which is always so genuine, we always try to sit back and make sure that we're making the right decisions. I think that's something that your organization is doing as well. You know, you're always, I'm about to tear up. I have no idea why. It's just talking about your faith and, you know, making sure that your business is supported by that. I think it's my hormones because
Hey, Kia,
girl. I do that too.
I think it's Baywatch, actually. I think it's your Baywatch moment.
But I think what really hit me is the whole faith-based situation. We are all led somewhere, and being here has been the best thing ever. You're appreciated. It's family. I mean, true enough, we move fast. And
We move so fast.
but I love it because there's never a dull moment. When we actually do sit back and breathe, you think about the things that you've impacted, how you've impacted the community, how you've made sure that, you just don't put out any product. So I think, Jen, you are doing an amazing job, and I can't wait to work with you. And guys, I'm so sorry for crying. But this
That's
whole-
right. Happens
No,
to all
I
of
love
us.
it. I don't like to hear girls apologizing unless they cut you off in traffic. So
Right.
no. No.
And the
I
crazy
love
part
it. I like for us to experience our full emotions. There's no shame in our game. If
Yeah.
you feel the power, you feel moved, do it. I am moved by Jen's faith. I am moved by your faith, Kia. I am moved by all the energy that the EmPower plant puts out to the universe. Do you understand this? We have at Facing Brooks, we have got a couple of groups. We got Come Back Stronger, public group, private group. We got the EmPower plant. We got this television show. We're doing all these kind of things because so much of what we do in helping our injured clients is
Yeah.
really life-changing. It's not really getting them a check. It's really changing their lives, putting them on either on a track to something they didn't have before, or at least getting them out of something that could have derailed them, put them in the bankruptcy court and made them lose their homes and everything. So being able to have these platforms is so awesome. And so it's a good natural fit. I don't know if that makes sense to people, but this is what we do.
Yeah.
This is what our job is. And so my particular passion is I want to really help women and girls. And so I've got women law partners. What other law firm has this many women working in it? Get real. How many people have people who are dealing with what you're dealing with every single day?
Right.
And I've got people who feel like they've met their calling when they work here. I couldn't be happier. I hit the lotto. I've got Kimmy Hogan. I got Carrie Brown. Don't even start with me with Jimmy Fasig. I got all these. I got Rose Caswick, although I'm disappointed in her today. But my point is this: I am living in the promised land, the land that was promised. If you do good things and you're good in the world, that you'll have this. So I feel blessed every single day. I hope all of you do. Thank you for joining us again today. Thank you, Jen Powell, making the time to be with us. You inspire me. You're one of those people who makes me feel lazy. You're on my list. I got 5 people right there. You're number 4. Thank you, Kia Thomas, for sharing what it is to contribute like you do here. And it is a major contribution. We thank you for it. Kimmy Hogan, thank you, because I know you've got everything going on, little babies, little everything, moving, everything, and made time for us today. Thank you, Carrie Roan. I know you're on the road right now. You're probably in a hotel room, meeting with an expert tomorrow, all this kind of
I
stuff.
am.
You do
That's exactly
to serve
right.
your
Yep.
clients. Thank you, Greg Bird, for pinch hitting. Thank you for Whitney Morris, my potato, for producing this wonderful program that changes so many people's lives every week. So thank you, everyone, for another episode of the EmPower Hour brought to you by the EmPower Plant. Y'all have a great week.